3 barge operators, 3 businesses, take $17,000 a year, divide it by 3, there's how much money you need to charge them. That way, to your point, Mr. Torrin, you know, when it comes time to do this stuff, we're not going out to the voters and saying, hey, kick in, okay? So the question still stands, do you want to register per business or per vessel?
We already register per vessel. So why is there a question?
Because we're about to change it if we want to.
So you want it to go to per business?
I'm asking the question.
Well, what's your suggestion?
I'm asking
Come with
the
a
question.
come with a solution, please.
I was under the impression.
Hang on.
I say, my vote would be per vessel.
Per vessel, which is what we do. Thank you.
What are you going to vote?
We do it per vessel right now. I don't even know why we have a motion, but whatever.
So you'll vote to do it per vessel?
That's what we do.
You'll do it per vessel?
That's what we're doing, yes.
Okay, so we have a tentative there. Mr. Chairman, I call the question.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Could you read them, re-say the motion?
Amy?
No, we're doing business right now.
He wanted to make a motion.
Go ahead, Amy.
He wanted to make a motion to make a decision if you were going to charge the barge fees per vessel or per business.
Okay.
So his motion was per vessel, and
I
John
second
seconded it.
Yeah.
Because it's not.
Okay, the motion,
The motion is to charge the barge fees per vessel. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Linda
Amanda's
abstains.
abstained.
I'm not part of it. I stepped down. That's different than just abstaining. It means I didn't take part in any of the discussions.
The way the math works on this one, if I'm clear, my motion is if someone shows up with 4 vessels, it's 4 times rate.
If they use 4 vessels.
We're not here to talk, we're doing
Well,
business.
this is for the future.
Right.
And right now, a company comes in and they get 1 sticker for 1 vessel because, well, that's the way we've done it.
No.
I just gave Paul the ordinance that we're under now.
Mr. Chairman, so the vote has been taken. Is it okay if Selectman Murray,
No, you can do it. I gave you.
where do you want me to read it?
I'm just telling you,
what
there's
page,
the
Paul?
ordinance.
Where do you want me to read it?
So we're talking
Never
about the
mind, forget
future.
it.
We're not talking about the past. We're talking about the future.
Yeah, but I guess what the question is, what section are we dealing with in our ordinance?
Well, I'm on section 36-9, commercial
I am.
barge vessel landing license regulations and fees, CBVL. I'm down on number 10. That's where I am next.
Yeah, so 10 says annual per barge company. So we're going to be changing that to annual per barge vessel.
Correct.
That is correct.
So, Paul, you would need to give us a motion to
He did.
change that.
No, the motion will change that.
No, you have to quote the section and the number.
Why don't you read it and then I'll make that as a motion.
So you would have to say, Paul, that you wanted to make a motion to change section 36,9 of the commercial barge vessel landing license, registration and fees, number 10, to read not barge company, but barge vessel.
That's what I made as a motion.
No, it isn't.
I'm going to take your read.
Do you want to amend your motion to be that?
Yes, that'd be fine.
And then everybody would have to agree and then revote.
Okay. I amend my motion.
And I hate to be technical, but it's not a comma, it's a dash.
I amend my motion.
I'll
amend
second
my
that,
motion.
Okay.
as I did.
Is there a second there?
Yeah.
He did.
We voted again?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And I have stepped down.
Willing to step down.
Noted.
Okay, motion
Okay,
carried.
so
Now we need a number.
now we need a number. So for discussion, I recall that the price to do the boat ramp down here was $90,000, is $92,000 to do the boat ramp at the town docks. So when you spoke about $10,000, I think that's a little light. I don't even, I hear a lot of people can't get out of bed for $10,000. So to be saying they can replace those, to be replacing those concrete things at the ramp at the Libby is hard to believe. And I will say, I was down there this summer, and the 6x6s are already hit. There's only 1 inch holding on the 4th row down. So with one more hit, the whole thing's gonna take a dive. So, and it only takes the wind to move the barge over to make it cause a little pain there. So it's not far away, our costs on that one.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes?
So I presented this information to our board on the 4th of June, got the information from Luke on the 1st of June. This board has had it, when I say this board has been in possession of this information, and I respectfully, can't get out of bed for a certain amount of money, here's what we did over there. I call that obfuscation. I have hard data that was provided, at least at the time, by somebody who actually does this stuff for a living. If we think that's bupkis, then my recommendation would be we leave the prices alone until we unbupkis it. How's that? And that would be $3,000. Isn't that what it is?
Second.
There was a bid on the table for 5. There was a bid on the table for 5. It's in the notes.
Well, nobody has stated
So
that
I'm going to
yet.
make a motion that we increase the ramp fees at the Libby docks to $5,000.
Second.
Okay, thanks.
Per vessel.
Vessel.
Any
There's a
further
second.
discussion?
I just want to make a comment. I respect what you said, but again, I just want us, all of us, because we've been at this we're pushing 11 hours. If that data was bupkis, tell me it's bupkis and come up, to your point, tell me it's bupkis and come up with something else. So I just say, we had a bid on the table last time we did this to go to $5,000, and that's fine. If you come up with better information, come on in. So call the question.
My only concern is we could price ourselves out of the market, and then instead of getting 9 that we got this year, we could get 5 next year, and that's it. Because we've gone from 12 down to 3. There's a reason we've gone from 12 down to 3, because people have found other places on the lake to come in and out, and that's fine. So we'll have no wear and tear on our docks, but we'll also have no money to fix them. So we're here.
So you have to ask the question of, do you want to keep repairing something? If you don't have anybody using it, then you don't have to pay to fix it. So I agree with that.
I think
So we
what
could
Brian
charge
is saying is,
$50,000.
let's just be careful, because there was a
Nobody would
bid by this board of selected human beings, going back whenever the last time we did this, it was a bid to, the fee is still being debated per the town manager, going 3 to 5. Brian is saying if you go to 5, you might make this thing confiscatory, and people may not want to do it. I got it, and if we think that's wrong, we can fix it.
Yep.
But we
There's
do
a
know
motion on the
that,
table to raise it to 5. and there's a
So
second.
the other thing that I'd like to say is we do have businesses that are in Wolfeboro, and we say we want to support businesses, and we're going to be increasing their fees. And let's go a little bit further. We have citizens in Wolfeboro who use those barges to maintain all of their docks, their boathouses, their waterfront property, and now who's going to pay for that $5,000?
you are, Brian, because you're one of them.
Yeah, no, I don't own waterfront property in Wolfeboro.
All right, let's not keep
But
it heat.
the waterfront people in Wolfeboro will end up paying that $5,000 dock fee or launch fee because it's going to be pushed down to the people in town. So we could make it $50,000, we'll have no barges coming in, and then everything's beautiful.
Then there's a motion on the table, all you can do is vote no. Mr. Senical, I asked him to call the question.
Yes. On the table is the fees at the Libby to be $5,000 per vessel. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
I abstain until I have more information.
And please note again in the minutes that I stepped down.
How did you vote, Dave?
In favor.
Okay. So that motion passes?
It passes.
Okay.
That's correct.
Just the
Just the Libby.
Okay, we're making progress.
That one's
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a question of Amy?
Yes.
Amy, when you issue a barge permit for the Libby, and I don't have a copy, maybe I do and I haven't read it. Is there something in there that said we're gonna play nice, we're on the honor system, we're not gonna cheat the system? Is there something in there that ensures that happens?
The current application has a small paragraph in it that says, "The applicant acting on behalf of this owner-operator vessel hereby accepts responsibility and agrees to reimburse the town of Wolfeboro for damage caused to the town docks caused by this vessel. The applicant certifies they have read the dock ordinance, section 32-2, available on the town website." And then other than that, it just has their home port information, and they submit their insurance and pay the fee.
So as it relates to the Libby docks, and I think, my colleague Brian, and I think a lot of us, we have no real method to, I hate to use the word police, to enforce, to oversee, how do we want to handle that?
So do we have electricity and Wi-Fi at the Libby?
Wait, time out. I have a solution. Brian's going to buy me a lawn chair.
That's what I said, I'll buy you a lawn chair.
Only if it has kick-up legs. How do we want to deal with this? I mean, do we want to, the heavy hand of prosecutorial? How do we want to deal with this? Or do we have enough in the writing right now that says, you know what? If you're doing something nasty and we drive by and we can't figure out who you are, we're going to send you a hate letter.
No, there is a simple way, actually, to tell you the truth.
How do you do it?
So there's a game camera that's remote that you have a signal to it through a telephone, a wireless carrier, and you set it up and that's it. Spy point.
Yeah, and the only problem is somebody has to either have that tied to their computer or something, so every time a barge goes in, it pops up and they look at it, or somebody has to rely, let me finish, somebody has to rely on somebody seeing a barge there and then going back and checking the footage for that day, that hour, so on and so on and so on.
So that's a surveillance option. Which basically saying we want to surveil that place.
Correct.
Oh, we leave it the way it is, that if somebody creates an issue, they contact us.
So unfortunately, the fact is, if they don't, accidents happen, and that's why they have insurance. And accidents happen. That's all there is to it. But if you pay a small amount, you could actually save the town tens of thousands of dollars, because again, then the person who even owns the barge could say, look, your dock was in poor condition, which I actually think it is in poor condition. So now we're at the point of saying, are we providing them with a perfect situation that isn't damageable?
Well,
I don't understand, but whatever.
we probably need
If you
to,
have something that's compromised and somebody comes in and they just rub up against it and then it falls apart, then they can say, well, it was your dock that wasn't put together very well.
So then we should have our Department of Public Works or our town manager or whoever do a survey of the dock through a dock company to document what the condition of the dock is right now, so on and so on. We should do that on a yearly basis.
We already had somebody go down there from the Public Works Department and put a 2x4 on it,
Well,
and
that's not what I said. I said we should have a survey of the dock with all the documentation of what's wrong with the dock right now.
why wouldn't we have a barge company do that?
So, Mr. Chairman?
yes,
I think we're going into a different lane.
Yeah, we're getting off
I do
course.
think that there is a requirement to make sure that we have a status concept of what our dock is like. Got it. But that wasn't the question that I asked. The question that I asked is, and I'm going to shorthand it, should we be surveilling the docks with electronic equipment, or should we leave it alone and kind of let it ride for a while?
Yes.
Let it ride.
So
Which one of the yes?
Surveil. Surveil.
You say surveil.
I think we need cameras in downtown for the parking spots to surveil those two.
See, that's conflating, and I want to get back to, I want to go right to the Libby. Should we be surveilling that Libby dock? And John says yes.
And I don't mind doing
I say
it.
no.
I don't mind doing it, but I don't know who's going to be responsible then. Is it the police department? Is it John Thurston who's responsible? Is it Amy? Who's watching the footage and making sure? And then who's contacting the barge company and telling them, you did a no-no, come see us?
I say no.
It's usually in the cloud, Brian, and all you have to do is go back to a certain time slot, and then you can look at it and see what's going on.
Correct. And who's going to do that? I like solutions, not suggestions. What's the solution?
John said the solution is surveillance, but somebody's got to figure out how to do it. I say no.
Yeah.
The first question is, should we surveil it? And you're saying you can't make a decision on that either because you don't know who's going to do it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that's fine.
How do you make a decision on something when you don't know what the end game is, what the solution is?
What you do
We
is you
should
take
be
a baby step.
implementing solutions, not suggestions.
Thank you for the theory. I say no. I don't think we should surveil it. I think if we find, and there's a lot of people driving by the Libby that will call in.
So I have a solution for Brian.
Good.
Okay, the solution would be that the Public Works Director goes down once a week and looks at it, so he has to go 4 times a month. And he goes down every week, and if he sees it's in the condition, he can take a picture of it and say, okay, here's the picture of it. And then at the end of the week, he can go take another picture of it, and he can look and say, okay, is there any damage?
So we have to make sure that that's within the purview of his job and one of the...
I'm giving you a solution. You're getting over the top.
No, that's not off topic. Okay, we can use the Public Works Director to do that if it's within his job, and we only have to do it during the summer. We don't have to do it during the winter, because nothing's happening to the dock. Barges aren't hitting it.
Mr. Chairman, I apologize for putting this conversation on the table. It's not going anywhere, and I just withdraw the conversation. I think we should move on to something else.
Okay. We want to move on to the fees for the front docks and so forth.
So I'm gonna make a motion that we surveil the dock. We buy a
Wait.
Doc, we're talking about.
Which docks are we talking about?
the Libby dock, that we buy a spy point, cell camera, and we use that to surveil the dock.
I'll second it so that we can have a conversation and get a decision.
I'll call the question.
Okay, call the question. We have a motion and a second for surveillance of Libby docks.
With a cell phone spy camera.
Yep. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
I want it noted in the minutes again that I had stepped down.
Okay,
So what was the final vote?
3-1.
3-1-0, or 3-1,
No, just 3-1.
Nothing, I'm out of the whole thing, I'm not part of it at all.
got it.
That's why I want it in the minutes.
Thanks for putting it on the table.
Okay, let's
Just time
go
to
to
get it, just get it resolved and just move on.
So the vote, can I get clarity on the vote? It was 1 for and 3 against?
Yes.
Or 3 against, okay.
Thank you.
All right, front bay dock.
Mr. Chairman, before we go on and look at the fees from the commercial dock, are we at some point going to go through the draft of the ordinance itself? And one of the things I would like to bring up in terms of fees, I want to point out to the board that we have a bond out for that work. It's $700,000. We talked about it being for the expansion to create greater use of the docks which was specifically this area that we will be talking about. It is a 10-year bond, and the bond goes until 32, and in 2025, it's going to cost $73,675. And I would like to question whether we should be putting money in a restricted fund or whether we should leave it in the going into the general fund to help pay for this bond, and in 10 years from now, let another Board of Selectmen take a look at that and decide if that time they want to be saving for some other repairs. I think it's important that we don't take money out of the general fund revenue, and as we all know, that whatever revenue we have gets subtracted from the amount we have to raise for taxes. So if we need to raise 19 million for taxes and we have 5 million in revenue, we only have to then raise 14. So I would like to look at, when we come to that, removing the section, and I think it's 361010 in terms of where the revenue goes. Other than that, I just want us to have a good conversation about that.
Paul?
Pardon the pun, capital idea. Would you be willing to, or want to have the same conversation, even though it's not bonded, about the fact that we're collecting revenues for the Back Bay docks, that we should be taking those revenues and putting them into a sinking fund?
Well, we can also use those to pay off the docks, and at some point.
But they weren't, just.
I hear.
Part of that original dock.
Then if you want to label this fund just for the Back Bay docks, then.
No.
Okay, then I'm losing what.
I'm going in a different direction. So your notion here was in 2020, when did, 2023?
22.
22? So in 2022, went to the voters and said, give us a bunch of money so we can fix the docks, we want to bond it. No decision was taken in 2022 to take any funds that we bring in from those docks and put them into a sinking fund. You're now saying, we might want to think about doing that.
No, I'm saying we have in this document to put it in a fund.
Yep.
And I'm saying, no, I don't want to do that now.
Don't want to.
I want to put it, keep it in the general fund to offset the cost the taxpayers are paying now on that asset. Because the more we pull money out of the general fund and stick it over here and there for the future, we're subtracting from the revenue that we have today, and yet we have an expense today for those docks.
So that could be so that's almost like a pay me now, pay me later. We can pull the money out and put it into the general fund to retire the obligation on taxes, or we can put it in, leave it in that fund and use it to fix those docks at some point in the future. That's really the trade-off.
I'm saying after 10 years, you can then start accumulate it. While we're still paying that bond, I think it should be in the general fund.
All right, I got it. Thank you.
John?
So do you have the amount, Linda, in front of you for the amount to fix commercial dock 1, 2, and 3?
No, 1, 2, and 3. I looked at only phase 3 because phase 3 had to do with the commercial docks. The other ones had to do with the recreational docks.
Okay,
We're not
so-
generating any money for the recreational docks.
Okay,
I'm
so-
looking for Article 13 in the 2022, it says dockside upgrade phase 3 bond.
So that's the commercial dock, that's basically where the Mount Washington and the Millie B are.
Yes.
Okay,
I think it's a fair question. We should.
So are we saying we would like to cover our costs for that dock?
In the future.
No, what I am saying is, when we set fees for this dock, instead of putting it in a restricted fund and saving it for future repairs. Right now, the revenue has gone into the general fund, which offset expenses. And so I'm questioning in this rewrite whether we want to put it in a restricted fund. And my feeling is we should not. We should leave the revenue going into the general fund and offsetting the expenses until the bond is done, and then the selectmen at that period of time can decide whether they want to put it in a special fund for repairs.
Okay, I think I'm asking a different question. The question that I'm asking is, if it costs us $700,000 where the Mount Washington comes in and the commercial dock, that we charge enough to cover our costs to pay for the $700,000.
That means we would have to charge $73,000, over $73,000 in fees. $73,675 is the number for 2026.
So let's just stay there for a second. So do you think that the number that we're charging right now for $2,000 would start to cover those costs, or should we increase those? That's kind of where I'm headed.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm asking whether when we get there, and that's why I was asking, is we have in this that we're going to take any revenue we generate and put into a separate fund, and it would not go on in the general fund, and it would not offset the 2026 cost.
Mr. Chairman?
Paul?
Linda, can I ask you a question? Would you come up with the 73?
I got it. I went back to the deliberative session presentation, and I'm assuming that's what it was when we did. It was the only document I had, and it said in the fourth year, we pay $70,000 right through this bond for principal. We spend $3,675 on interest. So the whole amount that we're paying is $73,675.
So the annual bond payment
Is $70,000.
is 70 grand, roughly speaking.
It's written, no, it is what
The annual bond payment is
principal payment.
principal.
Yep.
And the amount of, and I think where John was going is the amount of revenue that's coming in is far less than that.
Correct.
Substantially less than that.
Correct, but you're still pulling.
Hugely less than that.
Correct, but whatever you are paying, or you raise this and now you get 10,000, then the voters don't get the benefit of that money to offset this cost, and that's what I'm saying.
I'm with you. So at the get-go, when this thing all started, at a $70,000 cost coming through the general fund out to pay the bond, and the revenue offset was far less than that, that is, by definition, a subsidized situation. We took a decision, I wasn't here, but we took a decision to do that because we believe that it is in the best economic interest of this town to have people coming in from the Mount Washington, in from these other boats, and taking their credit card and spending it in our town. We took that decision. No more need to debate whether it was a good idea or not. We did it. The question then is Linda's asking, and I think we should get to it later, Linda, is when do we start? We want to retire, we want to give the taxpayer a break, but we could be, and this is my thought on it, we could be snow plowing a big nut of repair that at some point in the future we'd have to pay for. That's kind of where I come out at.
Well, I guess are we now going to always charge enough so we cover all capital costs, with user fees? I mean, that's what it seems like to me. We're doing it right now. It's going into the general fund. We would be removing money that we are using now. And that's how I see it. You don't have to agree with me. That's what I think.
Great question, because the question could be, well, if you want to do it here, what about those sewer people? You could kind of move this thing all around, and it could get really crazy really quickly. But I think we ought to have that in the back of our mind. The first, no disrespect to what you're trying to accomplish here, I think the first thing we need to figure out is, so what do we want to do with the people who want to use the commercial docks? That's really the question, right?
I was asking I started off by asking whether we were going to go down through the draft of the.
Oh, okay.
That's why I started, and I asked, and I said, this is the.
You want to go line by line.
I have a question on one of them which is 361010. And I want to know if we're going to go to that, because I want to address that, and I just gave you an example why I wanted to do it. We can go deal with the rest, but that's already in this ordinance, and I'm questioning it and want to talk about it.
So do you want to make a motion to change that?
I want to have that a discussion. I was trying to find out how we're going to do it. It sounded like you want to set fees. I'm fine with you setting fees now. I want to come back and I want to have it address that issue. And I don't know whether we're going to go through that draft.
I agree.
Dave,
I agree.
Yes.
so let's have a reality check. We're never going to collect enough money to maintain and rebuild those docks. End of story. If anybody says anything different, this is a reality check. We never will. We don't collect money for people who walk on our sidewalks. We don't collect money for people who drive on our roads. Well, we do, through the licensing of your car. But we're never going to collect enough money to pay for that. Linda's question is, should the money that we're collecting now pay down the bond? Or should we put it into a fund to let it accumulate to fix the docks later? Either way, we're paying for the docks. We're paying for it one way, or we're paying for it another way.
Correct.
It's just a question of information. That's all.
It's a question of time.
Yeah.
Pay me now or pay me later.
Yeah.
That's right. And who pays? The people who are using it now, or people who get the benefit that you saved in the future? I think that's the...
And I'm going to guess in 25 or 30 years, we're going to be, I'll be dead. We might not even be around, I don't know. But somebody is going to say, guess what? The docks are in tough shape. We have to spend $4 million, because we spent $700,000 this time or whatever, to fix the new docks. And there isn't going to be $4 million in a bank account to fix the docks then. We'll be bonding it again. So that's the way it is. Well, let's get the fantasies out of our head that we can collect $90,000 or $150,000 a year from the docks, from 4 commercial businesses and 2 nonprofits to pay for the docks 100%.
Did you
Not happening.
think that somebody was fantasizing that?
All right, what do you want to do here? Give me some direction.
I think
Brian, you had some ideas that you presented to us.
And I'm sure everybody will just tear them up and flush them down the toilet, so whatever.
So
you
I'll
don't
just,
wanna speak?
so I'd like to,
Wait a minute.
go ahead.
You gave us this
Yeah,
afternoon.
and I already explained it. I
And
did
we've
explain
already
it once.
dealt with one of them. We dealt with the Libby.
Yeah, well, and I did explain this. This is the way I would do it to try and standardize our fees. Nathan said to us we should do license fees. That's what he said we should do for everything. He didn't believe in landing fees. We have boats that land twice a year. We have boats that land 6 times 5 times a day, 30 a day times 90 days, 2,700 times. So we have boats that land 4 times and boats that land 2,700 times, and we have nonprofits and we have for-profits. They're all different animals. All I tried to do with this was break it out so we can see it. If people don't want to do it this way, that's fine. If they have other suggestions, that's fine. If they want to change the numbers, I just put in a range for everybody. If this were to be done this way, we would increase the fees down there, because everybody wants more fair market fees, by 200 to 500%. That's a 2 times to 5 times increase, which I thought was a pretty good place to start, either doubling it or making the fees go up 5 times. I wouldn't want to go up 10 times or 50 times or 100 times. I think that's too much at once. We need to step this up. This could also have a 4% increase, automatic,
Rate of inflation.
annually.
Stuff.
Rate of inflation, 4%, 5%, whatever you want. The businesses do need to know that their license agreement is in there and they have the option to renew it. We do that for hawkers and peddlers. You do that when you rent a property from somebody. You usually get a right to up your lease or your license, because you can't take a business and say to them, you got a dock this year that you can use, and you don't have a dock next year to use, whether it be permits or whatnot. What if somebody comes in, what if the tiki boat guy comes over and says, I want to put 10 tiki boats in and out of here, and we do it at a lottery, Torrin loses, and the tiki boat guy wins. Now what's Torrin going to do with his 6 boats? Then the next year we do another lottery, and the tiki boat guy loses, and he's like, well, now I'm out. That's ridiculous stuff. You don't want to do that.
But I don't know what you're proposing.
So I think
Hang on,
Brian just hit on it. So
I asked
you,
the question, but I don't know what you're proposing.
I'm proposing, if anybody wants to use this or something similar to this, I'm open for it.
So, John, just before you do that.
okay.
So in the ordinance, 36-4, the question that how the fees get set, it's worthwhile.
It's by landing fees and by foot and all that, and I think that should be scrapped.
I haven't read it yet. Let me just try that, okay? So in 36-4, commercial dock 1, it says, for the purposes of pickup and drop-off of passengers for up to 5 commercial vessel businesses, not vessel businesses, with a pickup and drop-off time not to exceed 20 minutes per vessel landing. I think the question that has been put to us several times is 5 enough? Too many? How do you select the 5? Who wins? Who doesn't win? Lottery? Flip the coin? How do you do it?
Because I said it,
What would you recommend?
I wrote it right there. Dock usage, loading, unloading, license, limit 12 vessels. And you know why I said 12? Because Torrin said he has 6, and then I added up all the other ones, and it came out to 11, and I put a 12th one in case the Winnie Bell comes back, or maybe Torrin gets a 7th boat. And what we can do is then if somebody comes and they want to do a hawkers and peddlers with us and we already have our 4 covered, what do? They go in queue and they wait for somebody to not renew theirs. So these license agreements, same thing, you have a queue and someone decides that they're not going to, Torrin decides he's going to Lake George. Off he goes to Lake George. Now we have 6 vessels open. Torrin decides he's 83 years old and he's only going to run 2 boats. Then we have 4 left in it. Something can happen like that. They're there. They're users. We're not kicking them out.
Just, Mr. Chairman, Linda has got her hand up, and I'm disrespecting her. The section of the ordinance I just read had nothing to do with the Winnie, the Millie B, or the Mount Washington. It is the drop-off dock. The drop-off dock. And so, 5, 10, 30? Go ahead, I'm sorry, Linda.
I mean, that is 5 because we voted that 5, and that's when I go back. Are we coming through here and changing everything? And that's why I wanted to go back to that is exactly, Jim read that. That was after you go back in here, we had the motions. We were talking about 5 for the drop-off, 20 minutes. There's nothing about, repeating, and we talked about having it like the hawkers and peddlers, and we didn't vote to do that. But I think what is in here, and that's why I kind of wanted to go through it, what's here is my understanding is what we voted and the town manager took and wrote it in. So that definition is what we agreed on.
I don't remember voting for 5, but that's because my brain is mush.
Well, if you go back
I just don't remember doing it.
Well,
You may be right.
it was in the minutes.
Okay.
They are attached
Then
to this.
Could I just?
I can tell you.
Yeah, sometime. So
No, it's right
The question
here.
would be vessel businesses, so let me just continue that. So you could have 5 vessel businesses. Each vessel business has a handful, not to be provocative, but a handful of vessels. And so it could be a lot of people competing for access to that dock. Is that kind of what you're comfortable with?
That's why I put 12 for a limit on. Right now, we have, just using the drop-off, we have 6, 7, 8, 9. That leaves 3 for the drop-off and 1 for the whole usage of the dock, meaning Big Sandy that goes to the big dock and the Mount and the Winnie Bell that go to the big dock.
So later on, I'll be asking the question, are we going to put cameras down there too? And once it hits 12, a bell goes up. I think this area here, we need to just, well, I'll shut up for a moment. Go ahead.
Okay, so let's just zone this off. Commercial dock number one. I think I heard the chairman say to me once that the things got out of control, in my words, last year with the commercial dock. We can't control it. Who do you favor when it comes to the commercial dock landing? I'm going to put a motion to eliminate commercial dock 1 landings. Commercial dock 1.
Please.
That's the commercial dock landing where the 5 individuals do business.
Please,
Excuse me?
we're doing business here. If you want to describe where it is, fine, no disrespect, but we're doing business here.
I'll read what commercial dock 1 is. For the purpose of pickup and drop-off for passengers for up to 5 commercial vessel businesses with pickup and drop-off time not to exceed 20 minutes per landing, my motion is to eliminate that.
Just for the benefit of the public, I think there might be a question out there that says, where is that? And I think the answer to the where is that is if you go to the bubbler, the water bubbler, and you just kind of walk straight ahead, it's right in front of you. To the right of it I think the right of it would be the Millie B.
Correct.
Okay.
So
I think for the benefit of the public, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful here, but the back and forth stuff we can't do.
No,
I just
I'm
don't wanna
not
do that. It's
doing,
gonna
I'm
get
not
us in
trying
trouble.
not to, but the intent for that dock was for island people, I was the co-chair of the ad hoc dock committee. The intent for that dock was, and I'll quote Adam Dow, because he was one of the people who owns an island home, who would be using that dock to pick up and drop off family members, guests, and people that it was non-business related. It was just for people who own property so that when all the rest of the docks were all filled up, they could actually come in, drop family members off, and they could go do their thing. That's what the intent of that dock was. And that's what I think the intent of that dock should be. If somebody's operating up to 5 commercial vessel businesses at that dock, then those people don't have the option to come in off of their island to use that. I'm going to quote Mr. Purdy, because he wrote me a letter and said, I agree with you, John. Those people shouldn't be there. We should have that. We pay taxes to get to our islands and our areas. We should be able to use that dock. That's why that dock was put there and constructed. That's the way I understand it. And that's why I'm making the motion to eliminate all commercial vessel businesses landing at that dock.
I'll second for the conversation so we can get a vote and get it over with.
Okay, is there any further discussion? Linda?
After we're voting, I would like to make a statement, read some stuff.
All right, the motion is basically to eliminate that section. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Linda?
Yes, and I'm going to go back because I feel like we're just running over things all over the place. And they provided us with this information on May 14th, 2026. Brian made a motion. Mr. O'Brien seconded it to, for the 2026 season, allow commercial operation, and it says for existing business with permits off the commercial dock at the town docks, which include the Blue Ghost Mailboat, the Wake Winnie, the Winnie Adventures, CW charters. That passed by a vote of 4-1. Then I made a motion that the Mount Washington and the Millie B continue to be granted a commercial vehicle landing permit for their current dock space in perpetuity. Mr. Deshay voted seconded, and again it was 4-1. So what I'm having trouble is we spent a lot of time, we took a lot of votes, and what we have here is that the town manager went through based on these votes and put a document document together. So if there are parts of the ordinance we have issues we want to change, then let's go to that. But I think we have, I hate for us to just keep on what I call chewing on this stuff when we really need to go back and look at the sections, and then if we agree on that, then we need to come and set a price.
That's all I'm here for. That's why I wrote
So
fees.
when we do that, you get to go home?
I just want fees set. Let's set some fees
That's
that
what
are
I thought we
reasonable.
were here to do.
So everybody is absolutely fine with everything else that's written in this draft ordinance?
I got some.
Okay, so that's where I'm coming from. If we need to go through sections of the draft that we don't believe is correct, then we need to do that, because we need to get this in a draft form that we can put to a public hearing. And that's what we're trying to do before we got people going down there and trying to get permits.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, well,
Linda just answered the question that somebody asked earlier, why do we have this meeting when we did? And what we're trying to do, looks like we're doing it in a less lumpy way than we've done it in the past. We're trying to get this thing behind us so that people actually understand what the rules are and they can play by them or not, right? Mm-hmm. So, John, the reason I said no to your motion is I have a different. Should the docks be used for the island residents? Absolutely. They pay taxes and they should have access to it. They should have access to the stuff under the bridge if they can get their boat under the bridge. Got that part. The question I have always asked, and I always get accused of this, is who's the winner and who's the loser? Who wins, who loses, who gets one and who doesn't? And, Brian mentioned the lottery thing. So I'm still a little conflumped on how that works. Because we could find ourselves saying, okay, first come, first serve. And now once you've got your first come, you're in forever. I don't think that's appropriate. I don't know how to fix it, but I think that's not appropriate because it is a winners and losers, and then all the vitriol that gets passed around about that stuff, which we'll have to deal with that. The question that I have, Linda, and you're right, we should go through the ordinance. The one that Jim has highlighted, 3610-1, 5 commercial vessel businesses will pick up and drop off. My real question there, and then, the time limit's 20 minutes and all that kind of stuff. My real question there is, how do you pick the 5? How do you get picked?
We have them. They're right here.
How do you get picked?
We have 4 right now. That gives us room for 1 more. They're already here. They're already
We
using
picked
the
4
dock.
winners.
Well, we already have them here.
We have 4 winners.
So how many hawkers and peddlers do we have? 4.
We're not talking about hawkers and
This
peddlers, we're
works
talking
the
about access
same
to the
exact
docks.
way. This works the same way. If we have 4 right now, these 4 get to have a license agreement. We get rid of the landing fees because landing fees don't work when you have boats staying in the water and you have boats coming and going.
So, Mr. Chairman.
So we license these boats. You have 4 that are licensed right now, and there's room for 1 more. But I think we need to limit on the commercial dock, that's why I wrote it, a limit of 12 vessels. Because the problem is, if you have, as Paul said, 5 companies with 6 vessels each, and then all of a sudden we're having 35 vessels coming in, it is going to be too crowded for island residents to use and for others to use. That's why we put a cap on it.
So here,
Yeah, let me go back to John's statement on the dock committee, and I believe you're correct, that's what Adam said, but we then added drop-off spaces on the recreational docks to accommodate exactly, and I think there are 2 spaces there now to accommodate what Adam was talking about. So you were correct. And that committee, then when this Warren article came out, we started talking about it differently and talking about giving other spaces than this particular space for the drop-off for the island. So that's just kind of clarity, but you're absolutely right. Adam did say that.
well, just, Linda, if I could, I'm a user of the lake, and I can't find those 2 drop-off parts. I'm back to my basic question, though, and Brian has pointed out what we've done. We've selected 4.
No, they selected us.
Hang on, we granted 4. So that means we're here to just get 1 more. That's it. I think that is, I think that is disbalanced. And I would like us to.
First come, first serve.
Well, I think it's disbalanced, and I'd like us to at least, maybe we just need to vote on it and say, it is what it is. And I can assure you I won't vote on the affirmative, because I think it's disbalanced. I think, I'll throw something out that says, and I know this, if I'm a business person, I'm going to absolutely have a heart condition over this one. 4-year license, lottery every 4 years. Now, that means you have to place a bet that 4 years from now, you're in or you're not, and that means you're hedging your capital. I don't know what the right answer is, but this sounds to me like it's. I could come back to your motion, John, but this sounds to me like it's just disbalanced, and I just don't feel comfortable. It's not a hawkers and peddlers thing, Brian. It's not, no disrespect. We're not selling, $3, $4 items. We have $150,000 investments in boats. We have lots of stuff going on. And this, to me, is much bigger than that. So I'm not comfortable with you've already been here, so you're in.
So what we have here, either we can stay with the motions we've made before, or the other option is to do a lottery. Is that how the two options that we're looking? Yeah, let's look at what we have here, and there are pluses and minuses to both of them. If you're a lottery and you've already put the investment and you have it for 4 years, are you really going to invest that much more into it when you're not sure whether you will get the spot in 4 years from now? So that to me is the issue. So here we are. Which of those two do we want to do?
And I go back to Dockside. We've rented Dockside to what's the last name?
Shell bombs. The ones that we had problems with. Big problems.
The Dockside restaurant we rented and had problems, and then we took and we did a lease with the right of first refusal to them to keep continuity in a business. Are we supposed to support businesses, or are we supposed to cut them off at the knees? And we did that, and Dockside has been a flourishing little restaurant. I don't see any reason why we're making space for one more. And like I said, and you can say anything you want, Paul, the hawkers and peddlers works the same way. We give it to 4 every year. They have a right of first refusal. We've had others come to us with 2 or 3 people looking for the last spot, and it was either first come, first serve, or it was done by a lottery for that open space.
It was done on, first of all, they had to be a Wolfeboro business, and then it went down from there. So,
how about something like this? Not that everyone gets tossed up in the air, but 1 or 2 of these spaces gets lotteried every 4 or 5 years.
And now, are you talking about just Dock 1?
Yeah.
Okay, just wanted that clarity.
By the way, we've already established, Board of Selectmen did this twice, that, the Mount, the Millie Bee, Mailboat Service, they're in, okay? So it's not that.
But the only reason I'm saying is that we voted on this Dock 1. So I want to make sure that I'm clear that you're talking just Dock 1.
Yeah, the drop-off.
Okay.
So, again, I don't know how to solve my problem. I'm teeing one up I can't fix. All I know is
So what's your motion?
I'd like to just finish so that I can explain it to others.
Okay.
Because I know you're fast at this stuff. I really do, and I appreciate that. Your comment that you made was you want people to make investments in this town. You want people to make investments in their own businesses. And by simply saying, you're out, you don't get in, you're sorry, we're done, they're not going to make investments in this town. Somebody may have a different business concept to use our docks. I think we should welcome that. Locking somebody in doesn't welcome that. You're out. Sorry, we picked. You lose. And I don't like that concept. So I'm trying to find a way where we could have maybe 1 or 2 of these come up for grabs every handful of years so that people could compete. And I don't want to have a price war. It's just a lottery. I don't have a solution, but I'm not comfortable with the present method of operation. It's a bad thing, bad place to be in.
So is that a motion?
There's no motion there because I just told you it's a bad place to be in. Please let me tell you how I feel about things. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, I kind of like your compromise. To me, that's kind of a compromise where we're going to give a certain number of them have security, but we're going to take, maybe we add one more space or two that gets to be a lottery. So we've got kind of two options. So somebody who may be starting a business who wants to kind of take a risk and see if it works, we have a place for that. And then those people who've been doing business here and have invested in it, we have an opportunity for them to have some security. So we may be able, that may be our compromise here.
Oh my God, there's a germ of an idea.
Okay.
Well, I kind of like, I don't usually agree with Brian, but I like the idea of the number that you have. This can be changed in another year if it doesn't work. I personally like the thinking of 12 vessels. I think that makes sense. That gets us the people that are already involved in there. And we have a little bit of room for this year.
Now, I
So
would,
I don't have a problem with that.
I will,
Now,
I will agree with you, and I will say that we should
just a minute.
He's
Just a
done.
minute.
That's-
The next thing would be, if we agreed with that, we would also then have to agree on an amount per vessel. So we've already agreed that that money's going to go back to the general fund.
No.
So we can
No,
eliminate that discussion again. So that's my feeling on it at this point. John?
Okay, so if I had to go in that direction, and the board was going in that direction, that would be fine. It's not something that I support, but, okay, you got 12 vessels. You got a dock that's 20 feet long, and you got 12 vessels out there. With people sitting there on the shoreline waiting, you got 20 minutes. You got 20 minutes times 12 vessels. That's about 3 hours worth out there.
Oh.
So listen, now they're going to be going to the other docks to pick up people because they can't get to the commercial dock. That's what's going to happen, folks.
so I agree with you, John. The island people will probably still be able to find a residential area. The commercial people right now, is at only 9 vessels. 12 vessels total at the dock includes the Mount, the Winnie Bell, the Big Sandy that go to the other dock. So that's what is being used for drop-on and drop-off. So right now, we only have 9, not 12, but I understand that could still be a long time if there's 9 waiting in a row.
Well, if somebody has 6 boats themselves,
Correct?
okay, you use the number 12, and I'm just repeating what you
Well,
said.
12 is for all the boats.
But we're not talking about all the other docks. We're just talking about commercial dock 1. That's
Yeah,
what
mine-
I'm.
Mine says dock usage, loading and unloading 12 vessels, and it includes the Mount Washington, the Winnie Bell, and Big Sandy also. So you take those 3 out of the 12 equation, and 12 minus 3 is 9, so I have 9 boats that can be used for the commercial drop-off spot.
Just 9 boats.
Just 9 vessels, that's all that I have.
So if you have a business, you get 1 boat. Is that what you're saying?
No, 9 vessels. 9 vessels will be allocated to use that drop-off spot. 12 vessels total at the commercial dock area.
So if one person has a business and has 6 boats,
Correct.
he
He has to make his schedule work so that he can get his boats in and out, or he's stripping them from
and
himself.
we're doing the same thing like we do with the Libby dock. Each vessel is permitted, so we're consistent.
Correct.
Okay.
Exactly like that. And the other piece that I'm looking for, or that I'm looking at, is that
No.
I haven't used anybody's name, so I haven't used anybody's name.
And what I'm saying is, and the reason I set this up this way is because, believe it or not, Right now, it doesn't seem like it's not working. I have not heard a lot of people saying that drop-off spot was so congested every day and people couldn't use it. Now, you did have a person that contacted you and said that they went to use it and that it's been congested. So I take that and I will listen to that and say that's a valid point by a citizen.
Well, they sent you the same pictures that they sent me, Brian.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that is one, but, you know, you are always going to have, you're never going to make everybody happy. I understand that. Right now, I built this with the exact number of boats that we have there. The only one that I added was the potential for the Winnie Bell, because Jared at the Mount Washington has said that the Winnie Bell was part of our community for a long time, and he is thinking about bringing it back and forth again. But that would be going to the tall dock. So that's why I use these numbers, is because it's what is operating now, and I think we should cap what we have now. Stop the train. Don't let it run away anymore.
Okay, Linda?
Yeah, I just was wondering, at one point we talked about giving them a schedule. And if we moved it from 20 to 15 minutes in an hour and a half, if we had 6, they could come in, and that we just keep on rotating it down the line, you know, and make some kind of a chart. So boat A knows he can come in at either 8 or at 9:15, 9:20, so that they know, and he can bring any one of the boats in, doesn't matter how many, but that's their time slot for coming in. That's another way of trying to address, and people knowing that they definitely can get a spot. That's what we do with the Mount Washington and stuff. You know, it's something I think we could play around with. But, you know, we're going to have to come together. We're going to have to each compromise a little bit on this for us to come up with a solution. And, you know, so maybe some kind of a schedule will help us get over that part.
Dave?
Well, right now, the mailboat isn't using that spot.
They're not?
It's my understanding, well, they're not using the drop-off spot, right?
They will, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Clearwater Lodges, I think they've told us that they usually go in and out in the evening only. So
They didn't tell
there's
me.
a couple of vessels there that are not going to be consistently in and out all day. Paul?
So last year, we had an applicant whose name I won't mention, came to us and said, I can't give you a schedule because I get phone calls and I fill up my boat and then I go. And we said, that's okay. We waived the schedule requirement for that applicant. And I'm not pushing back on you, Lynn. I think, you know, the question of, you had an applicant, gave a presentation to the Chamber of Commerce, came to us, said, I can't make a schedule. And I'm not in the business of trying to figure out how they run their boats. So I like the idea, because I proposed it, I like the idea of a kind of every other year lottery. I got one other. We could just simply say, you know what? Too hard can't do. Let's back away from this and let people try to manage it themselves. Because very frankly, if anybody wants to say, you know, there's a lot of revenue at risk, no, there isn't. The amount of revenue in this little situation is, here comes the word, de minimis. it's a nit. So maybe the theory is let people back away, but they just got to tell us that they intend to land and pick up passengers on our on our drop-off dock. That's it.
Dave.
You could go hands off.
Okay.
So the schedule,
Which I'd be okay with.
the schedule idea that Linda said is a good idea. The only problem that mucks that all up is the island people. Because if you create a schedule like that and then island people come.
Here, I think we remove the island people and take another spot on the recreational dock, which is for them. They keep them out of the commercial. Give them a spot on the recreation. I just went by and there's one. We should probably have 2.
Yeah.
And then we get them out. The only reason I put that schedule was to respond to John saying we could have 9 out there. I'm just trying to find a solution.
And that's a good idea. Hopefully people are respectful and they leave those spots vacant for the island people. Dave, and for anybody who's not seeing, Dave is snickering.
But who's going to say they leave the commercial spot? I mean, at some point, we've got to make some kind of process, and hopefully we can, that people will honor it,
Like on a Saturday afternoon, I got a boat full of kids, I want to go in and get pizza.
on.
And please.
So,
Reality.
so let's go back to the number now. So, 70,000, 3650 for interest. How do we get to that number? We have a Mount Washington dock. We have these other commercial vessels. I would, if we're going to issue commercial vessels, I kind of want to be consistent. So I would say, why don't we do the $5,000 number like we did at the Libby dock per vessel?
For which ones?
All of them?
Which boats? Which vessels?
I thought we decided we weren't going to try to make this a situation where we charge enough to offset the bond.
So we're not.
That's what I hear you saying.
Well, no, I'm trying to be consistent with the number. I mean, I'm not including the Mount Washington dock right now.
You shouldn't,
I'm not.
because we're talking about the drop-off.
Correct.
All the other stuff.
So we're
off the table.
talking about the
Dock 1, commercial
one.
dock.
Dock
Okay,
one.
okay.
That's what
Okay.
we're talking about.
Okay.
So this is going to be an easy conversation. Where does the number land? How many vessels are going to be using the dock, Brian? Can you clarify that for me?
So you're talking about the 9 for-profit vessels?
Correct.
So 200 to 5,000 is now our range. I said 2,000 to 500, you went up to 5,000, so it's 200 to 5,000 per range, which would mean Winnie Adventures would pay 5,000, Winnie Wake would pay 30,000, Clearwater Lodges would pay 5,000, and the mailboat would pay 5,000.
So right now, they're paying $327.
No, they're paying all different.
Yeah, they do. They're all different. There's a
Amy,
chart.
can you clarify what they're paying for us?
Yep,
The numbers are, I got them. You want me to get
So
them?
I asked Amy,
But as Amy's looking that up, here's my initial reaction to what you just said. But that dock space, that drop-off dock space, if you create a pricing method, which in no way is going to cover our costs, so let's just dispense with that.
Information.
That information, thank you for that. That was very good. I like that. But hang on, John. What you could be doing, and I think you would be doing, is you're telling startups, you're telling a little startup company who may want to take somebody out ski diving, that was good, who wants to take somebody, balloon flying. You're telling a startup, go away.
No.
We've now created a price structure that advantages big volume users.
No.
This is my impression, okay? I could be wrong, I normally am, but I'm just offering you my impression. And so I'm getting to the point quickly where it's either we do a multi-year lottery on a couple of spaces, or we just simply say that drop-off dock is open for people who pre-register with us, and let the games be, let them do what they got to do.
Amy's turn.
So what I'm basing it on
No fees.
is what I see that is the rental rate per day. One vessel is renting for $1,650. The evening charter is also renting for $1,650. Another vessel's renting for $1,000 a day. Another vessel rents for $800 a day. For a half day, you get $600. So that's what I'm basing it
You
on.
want to reach into their pocket.
No?
Yeah, you do.
I mean,
What if we wanted to have a
there's 100 days.
tax on grain?
There's 100 days during the summer.
Can I have clarity? You're talking per vessel?
Yes,
Okay, I just needed that
yeah,
clarity.
per vessel.
Okay, thank you.
Because I went online to look.
No, yeah, I just wondered, I wasn't sure whether we were back to 5,000 for the season or
I'm
it's per
talking 5,000 for the season per vessel.
Per vessel.
Yes. If that vessel can rent itself for $1,650 a day, that's 3.5 times it pays for itself in a half a week.
Well, I don't think it's our job to have business plans.
We're trying to partially cover our costs.
We've pretty much agreed that's not going to happen,
Yeah.
so.
Can I read the, Amy, do you have them, or do you want me to read the numbers for the
No.
vote?
Yeah, and I'm going back to what you decided on the
Easy to
barge.
find, or do you have?
And the barges, again, is a business. It's going to be charged out to the clients. John's saying now, oh, well, let's see what taking somebody off from our dock for a day, what does it cost? And in that business plan, is it reasonable that $5,000 for that vessel is outrageous over that length of time? And I'm questioning, I'm kind of saying, well, maybe it does make sense.
Well,
We
I
did
don't
it
know.
with
For an
a budget.
$800 trip, are they spending $300 in gas, $100 in insurance?
I'm just saying, if I thinking, what it costs you to run that boat, and what can you charge, and, how many trips you go out, how much is that $5,000 towards that, and,
So here are some of the numbers. The mailboat paid $366 last year. Big Sandy paid $14.04. Winnie Adventures paid $56. Wake Winnie paid $276. Clear Water Lodges paid $100. The Mount Washington paid $2,000. And I believe it was $1,500 for the jet skis on Back Bay. And the Millie Bees was $1,100. That's why when I did the numbers that I put in, the bottom range increases everything. The total revenue that we get goes up about 200%. When you go to the higher end, the total revenue goes up about 500%. So it's a 2 to 5 time increase, and I thought that that was a good start, a good starting point to not gouge people that aren't used to paying a lot more for their spaces. Is it fair market value? Who knows what fair market value is, because there aren't any other docks around the lake and any other communities that do this.
At the risk of, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman? At
Yes.
the risk of sounding like a poo-poo head, again, I started the conversation by saying, well, so how many winners are we picking? And you see what we did? We just kind of skidded off. We skidded off the off-ramp and we went to pricing. I'm still back to the question: is how do you want to determine how many people get to use the drop-off dock?
Well, we have 5 in our thing right
So
now.
you're saying 5 are in, and we're going to go look for 1 more.
Why are we looking for?
Well,
I don't
what I-
understand that statement, looking for.
Okay,
Are we out asking businesses to come here?
But
No, they are approaching us.
I will write you a letter of apology for using inappropriate language. So what we're saying is we're inviting others to submit an application.
If
1 more.
I would say if someone decides they want to come to Wolfeboro, there's a space available
Whatever
for
your
them.
language is, I still believe we're in a winners and losers situation. And if somebody wants to make a motion that says that's the way it's going to be, let's vote it and get it over with. We've been at this now 12 hours.
It's already in here.
Linda?
12
Yeah,
hours.
I think the problem here is we're not guaranteeing by this, are we guaranteeing somebody who has a permit this year gets it next year? That's, I think, the biggest question to answer in terms of what we're doing here. And I think what Paul's saying is that we're picking, the people who happen to be here now are the winners, and anybody who wants to start a business the same type can't find a spot here. And his suggestion was maybe we have 1 or 2 that it's lottery every year. Which seems to me to be the compromise in the middle. And so we need to decide, before we decide, are we talking about in perpetuity until they don't want it? Or are we talking a period of time?
So I would say that we could do the last one, the one that's still open, because we have 4 users. The 5th one could be a 2, 3, 4, 5-year lottery, if we want to make that one a 2, 3, 4, 5-year lottery. But
So all the other ones are in perpetuity.
Yeah, well.
That's what, I think we need, that's what we're trying to clear up here.
I would say, because when someone goes out and spends $90,000 or $100,000
I understand
on
that.
one boat, or $250,000 per boat on 5 boats, they need to know that they have a business plan that's going to be operating.
Is that not the question we need to vote on?
Correct.
You know, hawkers and peddlers, we give them perpetuity until they don't want it. And we do have turnover because space 4 is not a big popular space. So, you know, I think that I agree that we should have those who are here have it until they don't want it. And I think I'm with Paul that we should have at least 1 or 2 that turnover. And I think that's the balance.
Well, we have one available right now, so that could be the one that's determined.
Or 2. We can make it 1 or 2, yeah.
And on the hawkers and peddlers, you require them to renew by January 31st?
Correct, we did. Yeah,
And
we'd
if
have
they
to set a
don't-
date, yep.
Yeah, and then we advertise it so that it becomes a lottery type thing again.
Yep.
Do you want,
So is the question per vessel?
yes.
Business. This one has to be per business, because it's in the ordinance.
We have 5
Why,
businesses.
we had business in the other one, and we changed it to per vessel.
If you want to change it, go ahead, but this one right now, we're talking about per business.
I would
Okay.
do 5 businesses, and the change that I would want is to add to that 5 businesses no more than 12 vessels. Now, 12 vessels is the whole dock. If it's the commercial drop-off that we're talking about 5 businesses, how many boats do we want as a group at that location? Do we want 9, 10, 11? What's the number?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that the commercial dock 1 purpose is for pickup and drop-off passengers up to 2 commercial businesses have it in perpetuity and have to renew the beginning of the year, and there will be 2 lottery spaces
Each year?
each year.
That's 4. What do you want to do with the 5th?
No, there are going to be 5 that are going to get we have now, that get their business in perpetuity, and if they let us know by January 1st each year, and we will have 2 added onto, so 7 in all, a lottery.
So that's a motion?
Yep,
I want to second that. Can I ask you a question?
sure.
So this idea that we had about schedules, my bias is they can't do it. They just can't. Because it's just I think their businesses are driven by almost sometimes immediate demand. So you're not asking for schedules.
I'm not, and I think I'm back to where you are. Let's see if they can work it out. Sometimes it takes, you know, working with your fellow business to make these things work. I think it gives us a start to letting the ones who have been here to be here, and then it gives us an opportunity for somebody who would like to start a business or come in here, an opportunity to do it with a lottery. Those aren't in perpetuity.
I'm just trying to process so I can get my head around it. And I apologize, I'm just trying to get it. So you're saying the first 5 are in?
Yep,
You're in.
yep, and they have to renew January 1st of each year.
And you got to renew on 1/1.
So there's,
Hang on, I'm not done.
Hang on,
I just want to talk it through. That's how I learn. I try to talk it through. And so there's other 2, they're kind of like, who are they? There's a lottery, they'll come, they'll want to compete, they'll want to make the investment, we just kind of pull a name out of the
There
hat.
may be somebody who's going to some of the other docks
Okay.
who might want to do it, or coming out, or may want to start it. You are the ones who didn't want winners and losers.
Right.
So I'm trying to get a spot
No,
for
I'm
the
trying to talk it through.
losers. So we may put it out. We have 2 spots open. We could, if people are more comfortable, we could do it with 1 spot and see if anybody wants to bid
And
for
your
it.
idea of letting folks kind of sort it out.
In terms of getting in and out of the dock.
Yeah, because I think you schedule things, kind of.
I think it becomes
fool's errand.
difficult.
And you're not putting a limitation on how many vessels they can bring to the picnic.
Nope.
so that was my question. So if you have, so you haven't defined a price per vessel,
Not yet.
and you haven't defined a price or an amount of vessels. So one business could have 20 vessels. One business could have 30 vessels.
And if we get to the point that one has 30, you know, we can change it in another year. If this doesn't work,
So Dave?
So
we can
don't
change
you think that if you create a price per vessel, that will help you regulate the amount of vessels that you will get?
No.
So I like Linda's general idea, but I would say I would want the motion to be changed that the 4 2025 licensees are held in perpetuity, and the one available licensee that's not filled, because we've allowed 5 businesses, is a lottery for whatever number of years we want, 2, 3, 4, and we would not allow more than 10 vessels total coming in and out of that location. Why 10? Because we have right now 9. This gives the option of a new business to come in with 1 vessel and get that last spot by lottery. And then, as Linda said, we can always expand later. But I would like to slow it down now, keep everybody going the way we have it now. And if we need to expand because one year 5 people come to us, we can re-vote. We can change it.
So you're asking Linda to redo her motion?
Yeah, I'm willing to move it to 4 in perpetuity and 1 lottery to conform with the number of we have right now. I could do that. That's the only part of all that motion he was doing.
And I will
I'm
second her
comfortable.
amendment.
Well, she hasn't made it.
Oh, I thought you just did.
No, she was talking about her comfort level.
Oh.
Could I speak to it?
Yep.
Dave, I like your original one better.
You like my original?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
And Brian, I respect what you want to do, but
All right.
I had to get out a map and a flashlight to try to figure out the rubric here. What I think is going to happen is there's going to be congestion. They'll work it out. I agree with John. We haven't set prices. I think we're trying to set the business model here, and then we'll set how much we should get paid for this crazy idea that we're trying to implement. I look at it as a 2-bite kind of a thing. All right. So I like Linda's motion.
Okay, so that's 7 in all. The ones that we have, 5 in perpetuity and 2 lottery.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is
I
there a
like that.
second to that?
I seconded it.
You did,
I did.
okay. John?
And Brian wanted to change it.
I actually would like some clarification from Brian. How many vessels do you think should be in that spot?
Right now, we're using 9.
So are you comfortable?
And I have not heard from the businesses, and we did hear that one from that citizen who said that they had a hard time coming into that dock spot, but I've only heard it from that one citizen. We have 9 now. I honestly think even 10 is pushing it. I think 10 is pushing it, and that would be more than I want. That's my comfort level. I just don't want to kick people off now, because we've let people create a business here, and to cut them off at the knees and say, your $150,000 boat, you can't use it here anymore, just doesn't seem genuine to me. So that's why I was hoping that Linda would amend it to 5 total, because that's what our ordinance says. Now we don't have to change our ordinance again. And 4 in perpetuity that are here already, and we're leaving 1 more license for 1 more vessel to come so that we have 10 total.
So to me, that says 5, and if you have 10 vessels, that means each business gets 2 vessels.
Well, no, it doesn't have to break up that way. Somebody could
We
have,
don't have a number.
somebody could have 6 and the rest could only have 1, it's whatever. And if the business that has 6 vessels decides not to do it anymore, then there's 6 vessels opened up so that other businesses can expand their business.
I don't want, I mean, again, if the person that has 6 vessels wants 7, he can't get 7.
Well, then we can, I mean, that's just my comfort zone is no more than 10.
Just trying to understand
Yeah.
where we're going
Yeah.
when
So my
somebody
comfort
comes
zone
to
is-
us and says, I don't want another one.
Yeah, my comfort zone is more than 10 vessels sharing that one spot during a busy time of the summer could start to become problematic. I mean, if the board wants to go to 12 or 15, I'm okay with that, that's fine. But I do want some kind of limit on the number of vessels that use that. As Paul has said, and as you said, what if the next person comes in with 10 tiki boats? Now all of a sudden, we're going from having 9 there to having 19. Now we're going to have a problem.
I don't remember using the tiki thing. I think this is a self-regulating issue.
Yep.
If there's a whole bunch of congestion here, one of two things are going to happen. Customers aren't going to do business with these people, or they're going to defect over to the town docks, and we'll have our town dock hands yelling at you to get the hell off the dock.
Oh, they don't yell? No, that's not their job.
I'm just being
That's
facetious.
not their job.
It's a self-regulating situation. So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to call Linda's
I
question.
was going to say. Okay, we have a motion on the floor. All those in favor? Aye.
Nope.
No.
Opposed? 3 to 2.
Okay.
Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, we have a...
I'd like to make a motion.
Hang on.
Mr. Chairman, we have a 4 o'clock, I think, meeting. So if we want to push this meeting a little further, that's fine. Unless anybody has an objection to that. Okay, I guess we'll push it forward. Brian?
I'd like to make one motion. I'd like to make a motion that no more than, hold on, 9. No more than 12 vessels are allowed permitting at dock number 1, the commercial dock.
So let me just kind of
Hang
work.
on a minute.
Okay,
We don't have a second.
I'll second that.
Okay, go ahead.
I guess I'm trying to say, so we're going to give out a permit, and how are we going to control? All right, so then, okay, we have the business, we're going to give out placards for each boat, and for them, we can still charge per boat.
Vessel, yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
vessel, okay.
So,
Let's be consistent, that's all we're
All
doing.
right,
Yeah.
fine, I got you. All right? I'm just trying to work out the dynamics, so we can still be the same in terms of who gets the placards and how many placards, even though we're saying we are having a certain number of businesses.
So I'm compromising with the 7 for you, but I'd like to put a number total vessels at 12.
I would
think-
reduce that down myself.
I would too, but we can't, John, because if she puts 2 more permits in, we have to have 12 or else we'd be giving a permit for somebody and they can't have a boat. Because it's 9, and then if you, right now we have 6, 7, 8, 9, and if you add 3 more spots, 10, 11, 12.
So why don't we open it up to 8 vessels total, and then the people each get 1, and if somebody doesn't want one, then the other ones can then go into a lottery to get the last ones.
Well, the only reason I wouldn't do that is because we have people that have been operating with a certain number of vessels right now, and again, that's cutting off a business at the knees, saying you can only bring half of your boats to the spot where for the last 2 years or whatever, you've been bringing all your boats.
So that's, I think, so I'm in this discussion, Paul, sorry.
That's all
So that's why I say there are other places that offer landing locations for a certain fee during the year. They're called marinas and stuff. So for us to say we are giving something to somebody because there's no other option, that's just not the case.
Correct. That's correct. That's why I wanted it to only be 5 total boats, 5 total businesses, because then the 5 total businesses, I would have limited it down to 10 total boats. But we lost that vote. So now I'm trying to just put a cap on it that we can change later, hopefully, at 12, so that everybody gets at least 1, and the business that's in there using 6 right now continues to operate as they do, and we stop the expansion on the dock. No more additional commercial business going on other than the 3, we'll have 3 open positions, which I think is more than we need, but we'll have 3 open positions for people to bring boats and to do tours.
And John, you know this isn't I'm not trying to be disrespectful, it's just the way the brain works. We're farting around, we're messing around with 8s and 12s and 6s and 5s, and I kind of sit there and I say, who's going to be down there with the clicker? I mean, how are you going to do that? And so this is one of these, I think we kind of, we'll pick a number, and I'm going to go with the 12. Just pick the number. If we find that it's not working well, we fix it. But and the 8s, the 6s, it's the whole thing is challenging from a compliance point of view.
Yep.
And I just think it's
all honor system.
we're picking on a concept, and I don't think that's my personal opinion.
Linda?
Yeah, I can do the 12, up to 12. I think it does put kind of a cap. It then allows us to go, each time we give a placard out, we have a total number. I think that is a good start us looking at how this will work. And if it doesn't work well this season, we can come back and make the adjustments. But I think it's a usable system if we do up to 12 and with a number of spaces that we've allowed, and then we can come up with a price per placard or boat.
Can it be a sticker that has to be affixed to the boat?
I don't care
Because a
what.
hand placard can be passed from boat
Because
to boat.
the bow number has to be on the placard, so we can verify. And that's the same thing that should be on those barges.
Mr. Chairman, could you call the question?
Yeah. All right. All those in favor of the vote? Opposed?
Aye.
Okay.
What's the vote? 4-1?
Yep.
For one.
For one. 12 vessels, max.
Yep.
All right, now pricing. Brian, you've been doing the legwork on this.
So all I did was try and make it so that at the bottom figures, I did give, I don't want to say attention, but made it so that the nonprofits have a little bit less of a burden than a for-profit business, because nonprofits, we know, live on donations. And nonprofits, a lot of them also do good things.
Okay.
So we might need maybe the Lake Winnipesaukee Association or Alliance or somebody will want to come here, and as a nonprofit, if we want to give them landing fees or whatnot, we would do it at a reduced rate. And I tried to make it so that these numbers increased our revenues by 200 to 500%, which is, I think, a good jump to start off, because we've had people say to us in the community they want us to increase fees and collect more revenues.
Okay.
So what's the number?
Look at each one and pick them.
I'm asking you, give me the number.
Give
Me the flat line number. Just tell me what is the number?
So for jet skis, I would do $2,500.
Okay.
You want 22? Whatever you want.
I want to hear from you what you have
For the
suggestion.
for the Millie B, I would do $1,500.
And because the Millie B is a nonprofit?
Is in the water docking.
Yeah. It's in the water docking. It's a nonprofit.
It's in the water.
Correct.
That's the other
And
part.
they paid $1,100 last year, so they're getting a $400 increase. The jet skis paid $1,500 last year. They're getting a $1,000 increase. So then I would do the for-profit vessels under 40. Now we're going to the unloading and the loading space. Let's start at the bottom. I would say that the Sandy, being a nonprofit boat that is under 40 feet, I would only charge them $50. And I would say if we get a nonprofit boat over 40 feet, we charge them $100. Now, Big Sandy was only paying $14 this year, so theirs just went up 4 times. Then I would say the Mount Washington paid $2,000 last year. The Winnie Bell hasn't come. I would say that we could increase the amount to $2,500, and if the Winnie Bell comes too, they would have to be $2,500. That's my take. Now, the sticky part becomes all the drop-off and pick-up small boats. And I looked at what they were paying last year, and The Mailboat, $366. Big Sandy, $14. Winnie Adventures, $56. Winnie Wake, $276. So I said, $200 at the low still makes us money, because that makes money for over the lower paying ones. But it does increase a lot. I mean, you got Winnie Adventures, $56, and they're going up to 200, theirs is going up 4 times. But if you charge 200, then some of the bigger players that were paying $276 or $316, they're paying less. So I gave a range to see if the board was comfortable with 200, 300, 400, or 500. Right there.
So Paul, can I ask you a question?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how much does it cost over there at the marina across the bay to do a seasonal store?
You mean Sawmill Marina?
No, the one across the bay on the other side, on the western side of Wolfeboro Bay, the big marina on Sewell Road.
You mean Goodview?
I didn't want to use the name.
Oh. Well,
Price for what, though?
For one season to keep your boat there.
But they're not keeping the boat here. They're dropping off and picking up.
I just asked him.
But that's not a valid
Well,
question.
just bear with me for a second. They do lift service over there, don't they?
so are you guys all set? You guys all set?
Yeah.
Okay, so I probably shouldn't be saying this because I'm giving away, information, but you can figure that a seasonal valet service for a 23-foot pontoon boat and winter storage, because I do the whole taco, $9,000. You can reasonably assume that at Sawmill Marina, or one of the marinas over there, and again, this is many, many years ago, so I'm probably very, very off, $4,000 for one slip, one. So, I don't know whether that, and Brian might be right. I mean, this is the boat's sitting there, bobbing in the water, okay?
I'm just trying to get a base level, that's all I'm trying to do.
But here's my pushback on that. Okay, my pushback on that would be, these are, with the exception of the people that are in the water and floating, these are episodes of visiting. This is episodic, okay? Somebody's coming in, dropping people out, pulling back. So I don't think, maybe with the exception of the jet ski thing, but I don't want to talk about that yet, because we'll talk about that when we relicense them, I think. But I think this episodic visiting and unvisiting, I'd try to make it real simple. For that drop-off dock, if you're one of the lucky handful, it's a couple $1,000. If you're a nonprofit, it's half of that. Boom, done. It's simple.
So a couple thousand per vessel?
Well, unless we want to change this from business, because right now in the ordinance it's business, right? If you want to do it per vessel, then you'd make a motion to say a couple thousand per vessel. But right now the ordinance says per business. See, you make it simple. Do I have a spreadsheet that tells me what the costs are to the dock? No. Do I think that that's a reasonable thing to do? Yes. Do I think it's going to sink anybody's business plan? No. Do I think, to Linda's point, if I'm running a pontoon boat and I'm doing 4 or 5 of these episodes a week at $100 per nose, I mean, do the math quickly. This, as a percentage of my total operating cost, is a very, very small number. Should we charge more? Probably. But we've been at this now 13 hours, and we're not going to get any closer. So I say pick a number, and whatever it is, cut it in half for the nonprofits, and just be done with it. For the millie and for the mount, whatever the number makes sense. You take a look at I don't know what their cost is over in Alton, although they were off the air last year in Alton. What their cost is to land. Brian's number sounds
They
about
own the
right.
dock, it's free.
That's right, but they have to maintain it.
Center
Right?
Harbor, they own the dock.
So there's so you just pick a number and just deal with it. There's no science behind this other than. And I wish there was, but at this amount of revenue, as a percentage of our general fund, we are spending more time than we should trying to set a price, my personal opinion.
Yes, I thought the motions that we made affected 36 10.1, and we redefined that paragraph.
Did we?
Yes, that we're going to have 5 commercial businesses with a maximum of 12 vessels
Yep.
with 2 spots for lottery.
So we can
Which came
charge per
7,
vessel.
it's all.
You can charge per vessel.
That's right. So I'm saying that is a correction, and I
1,000 per vessel.
I put it where it was in the ordinance that correction is taking place.
Dave?
Okay.
So,
So,
so you make it simple, a sticker will cost you $1,000, if you're a nonprofit, it costs you $500.
No.
No. So I'll start with the vessels, the pickup and drop-off vessels. Based on the rate of the market rate for a daily rental, $3,000 per vessel per season. Anybody want to amend that or second it? I'm open to hearing about it.
Well,
So your motion is $3,000 per vessel, all vessels per season?
Those are for the pickup and drop-off vessels, not this
On
isn't. the-
Dock 1.
At Dock 1, this could include the Millie B.
boy.
No, not the Millie B, the Winnie Bell, I'm sorry,
Winnie Bell.
the Winnie Bell.
And so profit and nonprofit pays the same price, John?
Excuse me?
Profit and nonprofit pays the same price?
No, I'm just talking about the for-profit, the 12 vessels plus the Winnie Bell. Those are the ones that I'm talking about right now.
Well,
I'm talking about those, that's all I'm talking about.
I'm going to second it so we can get the discussion and just get a vote and just move on.
Brian had 2,500 for the Winnie Bell. I think I'm trying to make it consistent and say 3,000 for each one of those vessels.
But what about, and you're saying 3,000 for each vessel for Winnie Adventures, Winnie Wake, Clearwater Lodges, and the mailboat also?
That's what he's saying.
Yes, for those 12 vessels.
Call the question.
okay. Question's been called. All those in favor?
Aye.
I'll go right.
All those against?
Me?
3 to 2
3 to 2, it
passes.
passes. Okay.
So the Mount Washington in the 1800s is 60,000 passengers in the 1800s. Right now, we get $2,000. I'm going to give a round number of 100,000 passengers. That's 2 cents per passenger. If we raised it to 25 cents per passenger for 100,000 passengers for the season, we could get $25,000 for that boat. 25 cents per passenger.
That's
based on
predicate,
100,000.
the predicate is they have 100,000 people floating around the lake.
But
Take the num-
it's
take the
more like
number and cut it by 2/3.
160,000 people. That's the reality.
Well, I would agree with you. You could have called them and asked them what their numbers of passengers are for last year. They would have told you.
I could have. I went online, it said it wasn't posted, so, but I did find in the 1800s what it was posted.
Well, I would call them to find out.
That's a fair comment. I mean, so I like the extrapolation. The problem is, it's a problem just extrapolating on what happened
200 years ago.
before I was born.
I'm just trying to give I'm not trying to base it on the foot, the landings, I'm just trying to give it a base amount to keep it simple and say, this is what we should be getting.
So what is are you making a motion for a certain number?
I'm making a motion that we charge the Mount Washington $25,000 for this season.
I'm going to move to table that, and let me tell you why I would like to table it. I'd like a little more knowledge about passenger count, and then we can have a conversation on your price times quantity.
Okay.
Okay? I think it is, whatever we are now, going to 25 grand is going to be an eye-popping kind of commentary to the Mount. And I think what we should do is we should do a little more research as to what's there. This isn't going to bollocks up what we're doing. It's just trying to be fair and equitable. So would you mind if we did that? So I make a motion we table, subject to further research
Table
by
the-
Mr. Thurston.
The amount to be charged to the Mount Washington.
Yes.
What about the rest of them?
So my only response to that is, they own the dock in Alton as the land goes up in value and they maintain it, they probably almost break even. They own the land in Center Harbor.
Right.
As the land goes up in value and they maintain it, they probably break even. They don't go to Meredith. In Laconia, Laconia pays for their dock. They chip in a little bit of maintenance out of the goodness of their heart. We'll charge them $25,000, and they may say, see you later.
Yeah.
Okay, so I understand the threat, and that's all, I'm very emotional at this point about the threat. All I want to do is just get a little more research. You okay with that, John?
We are, but
Okay, good, thanks.
again, we're not trying to cover all of our costs, but we do know it costs $70,000 and $3,650 in interest per year,
But thank you for articulating
and
the threat.
$18,000 for our dock hands.
And
Yeah, I think we have to watch driving the Mount Washington out because of the number of people that come into our town. You should just watch that. So I think that that number is too high. I'm more than willing to deal with the tabling of it, but I'm not going to be supporting anything close to that number.
One last point, if I could, Dave. Mount Washington, to me, is a very unique situation. People come into town, wallets open, ready to buy stuff. What we were talking about for 2.5 hours was picking people up and taking them out of town so they could go someplace else and buy stuff. So I really want to be careful, extremely judicious, not cheap, but really judicious about anybody who wants to bring people into this great town of ours, including our people who want to use our regular docks, with a credit card in their hand and saying, latte, pizza, cookies, ice cream. That's what the Mount Washington people do. So let's be careful about setting a price there. And Brian, I didn't mean to be disrespectful, but the sky will fall. That's a reasonable assertion, but we need to have a little more data.
So Dave, the other thing is that some of these other places that, these companies that work out of here, service people who live here to go out on wake boats, people who can't afford their own boats. They also do have people who are staying in our hotels and our inns that are using those services. They're already spending money here. So I don't think that we can say that the Mount Washington has the only customers that add money to our economy.
I don't think that's...
So, and I would say this, right now, if we don't address the Mount Washington, they're going to be paying the same landing fee as last year, which is $2,100, and you're charging a pontoon boat from Clearwater Lodges $3,000. Does this make sense?
So we need more research.
Well, I guess that, let's take a look at this. When are we going to come back if you're saying research? I mean, I think we still have, as I look at it, there was something about a trailer parking. If we look on 3674, there's question marks. I thought a real goal was to get this so we can take it to a public hearing. And that's why my first question was, where are we going to go? I think there is, I think you took care of that one. I'll not talk about that one.
I'd make a motion that we increase the Mount Washington to $3,000 like the other boats right now, in case we don't make another decision before they come in to get their landing fees, so at least they're in line with the other boats.
I'll second that.
But wait a minute, I had a motion to table.
Yeah.
Did we not do anything there,
Yeah.
or are we just out of order?
We have a
all over the
motion.
place?
Did you get a second?
I didn't, so is that right? So we just,
I'll second that.
well,
all right, all those in favor of tabling?
hang on, no.
Well,
No
wait.
disrespect, Dave. I didn't get a
Well, I
second.
thought we were,
He just
seconded it.
seconded.
Seconded.
Point, hang on, please. Please. I didn't get a second. Somebody else introduced a motion, got a second, so I'll go whatever the consensus of the audience is here, either more research on the Mount or your motion, which did get a second immediately. I'll do whatever you guys want, but it just seems like we're bouncing off the guardrails on this one.
So Brian made a motion for the Mount Washington for $3,000, and that's what I seconded. Shall we call the question?
Call the question.
and that motion also includes a $3,000 charge for each one of these other boats. Am I
No, that
correct?
one's already decided.
That one's already
It's
decided.
already done. Elsewhere.
I-
Elsewhere.
Okay? I
So
didn't
my
get-
comment on that is talk about balance. If I'm running a little pontoon boat with 10 people on it, $3,000. If I'm running a, whatever the number is.
It's 1,000 passengers, it
Whatever it
says.
is, $3,000. That sounds interesting.
All right.
Anyway,
The motion is 3,000 on the Mount Washington. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
opposed.
Aye.
I'm voting for.
Okay.
Get that out of the way.
Melinda, you had a question on 36.7? Is that the trailer one?
Yeah, I think that's what because there are question
So why
marks.
don't, so can we just square these other ones away? Brian had the Millie B. Let's get the big, let's take care of these fees
Yeah.
that Brian put
So
out
I'll
there
make a
for us.
motion for the jet skis to be $2,500 for their license, which is going up
All right,
$1,000.
let's
No,
take one at a time.
No, I don't want to, that's a different dock. Let's just
Oh, really?
stay,
It's on our dock ordinance.
well, let's
It's
just,
listed in here.
I'd like to just stay with the Millie B and the Big Sandy and those, and then have a separate discussion about that dock. Is that okay?
No.
Well,
I'm going to make the motion, and you don't have to vote for
Make a
it.
motion, Brian,
So I'm
please.
making a motion that the jet ski, the licensing of the jet ski dock in Back Bay is increased from $1,500 to $2,500.
Is there a second? No second. Would you like to make another motion?
I'll make a motion that the Millie B, that their cost to use, what dock number is theirs?
There are two.
Dock 2 is $1,500.
I'll second that. And I'll second that because that is a nonprofit.
And it is an increase of $400 over last year. So we are going up.
Hey, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And actually, it's 50% of the rate we set for the commercial players, which is okay.
Now, the Big Sandy, I would make a motion for Big Sandy to be charged $50 for their landing at the dock for 2026, because last year they paid $14.04.
I will second that, but at that point, we're talking at Dock 3. They come into the, so I will second $50, and it comes in, they bring their counselors into the town, and then they leave. They're just, I think that's
And
within
they spend
range.
money.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Not enough information, I'm going to abstain.
All right. And then I would say that I think that's it. That's all the motions we need.
So please, Mr. Chairman, just a point of information. We're going to relicense the jet skis, and I think the applicant will be coming forward, and I think that what we should do before we come up with a number, this one is a market rate number, because the alternative is they can park the jet ski someplace else. It's a market rate discussion. And because, and I'll be honest with you, I think that there's a, there is, and it's fair, it's a fair question. How come they get to pay this amount of money and somebody else has to pay that? It's one of those equity kind of things. I want to make sure we don't get into the equity conversation. We just understand the market rate. And if we decide we want to discount off the market rate or charge full market rate, and the applicant's, in the game with us, I'm good with all that. That's all.
Linda?
Yeah, I agree with Paul, and in this ordinance we define the Back Bay docks, but we do not define it, so we
Because it's
can
a
go,
license with them.
yeah, we can go forward with this
Yeah.
without affecting anything with the jet skis.
So the last time we had this discussion, I said, Paul, are you listening?
Yeah, I'm listening.
I said, Amy had somebody come to us that said they wanted to rent the docks also. And you said to me, well, we don't know that for sure. That's a speculation. So Amy's here, and she can answer to that now. Amy, did somebody come to us and want to rent the Back Bay docks?
Yes, I've had inquiries on renting those docks, and then a request. Usually what I do is I give them a copy of the current license agreement.
Okay.
And have they returned?
We haven't had anybody formally
Nope.
ask.
And I think we're comfortable leaving that when we deal with that as a separate issue and move forward
That
with
was
it.
just for information.
Yeah, yeah.
So if there's more than one person, then
That's fine. I'm just trying to get this to a public hearing.
And the reason why I picked 2,000 to 2,500 is because if anybody's walked down and looked at that dock, it's short, it's narrow, it has weeds growing all the way up to the surface, and I don't think you would find anybody that could put anything else much there than a small rowboat with a motor on the back, and they're not going to want to pay more than $2,500. I rent a slip in Winter Harbor for up to a 23-foot boat for $4,000 for the season. Why would somebody pay more than $2,500 for that weedy little thing that you can't even get a boat underneath the bridge unless it's a rowboat?
So it kind of is an indictment of us.
Yes.
Yeah,
Into that dock.
I would like, and we've made some changes, see if Jim can make those changes, and we get the final draft for our meeting on the 18th, and then we can set a public hearing date from there. I'd like us to move along.
The only other last thing, Dave, is what we're doing by doing it the way we're doing it is we're doing it kind of dumb, because we're now setting fees for individual boats instead of setting fees for locations. So we just did, the Millie B is going to pay X at that dock. Well, what happens if the Millie B goes away and another boat takes over that spot? Now, the ordinance should say that this dock number is this price, not that the Millie B is this price. It should say that the dock where the jet skis are is rented for jet ski rental at this price. We need to make sure that it's locations that we're talking about, not boats. We shouldn't be saying Big Sandy is getting this. We should say nonprofits that come to our dock that are under 40 feet long pay $50. Nonprofits that are larger pay $100. We need to do it more generically. If we do it specific upon boats, when those boats change, our ordinance doesn't work.
Brian, I think we followed your suggestion, so are you undercutting yourself?
Not undercutting myself, but we need to make sure that the ordinance is worded correctly so that we're not ordinancing boats.
Yeah, I think we've gone to, what we have here is what's going to go out, and that is not what you're saying. Remember, we can always change and go to a public hearing. This is to attempt to clean up what we had, and I think it's a good pilot to go forward with.
Dave? So I just wanted to echo, parrot, whatever the right words are. So you voted in the affirmative, and then within a matter of 4 minutes, you said this is dumb. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I don't want to do this, but did the people who voted in the affirmative vote dumb?
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, maybe. Okay, thank you. Linda, do we have something to talk about on trailers?
Yes, there was it had to do with time on trailers.
36.7?
Yes, exactly.
Because I didn't see any notation in here.
37.4.
Oh, 37.4.
It says the boat trailer parking Glendon Street lot and filter bed area should not exceed how many days? What's the number of days do we want it not to exceed?
Wait a minute, let me get this 37.4.
36-7, number 4.
So question marks.
That's right, and the question marks are on the number of days.
You know what? I don't have that.
What you do?
No,
It's in the beginning of it. Yes, it is.
What page you on?
It doesn't have page. I can't do it. You got to go by
Page
the numbers.
Page
Yeah,
4?
it's page 4.
Stand by.
There are pages.
Keep going.
Yeah, there are.
Pages are listed
Middle
on the top.
of the...
Oh, that's right. The pages are on the top. I was looking
see,
for the
I
button.
don't have the question marks. I didn't have any question marks.
I think the question marks.
Oh, there.
Right there.
Brain cramp.
Yes, it will be in just as soon as this is straightened out.
Is the, okay, I apologize because I did not pick that up. I picked up the enforcement question from my own mind. So are we saying it should be longer than 5 days? Less than 5 days?
Jim is asking us, will we confirm whether we want 5 days? Do we want 4 days? Do we want 7 days? This is a decision we need to make. How many days do we want somebody to be able to leave their trailer at one of those lots? I think, to me, boat trailer parking at the Glendon Street lot, I think, should be shorter than the one going to the filter bed roadside. So I'd almost like to put 3 days for the Glendon Street and a week at Filter Bed Road.
See, if I could, Dave, I think there's some prudence here. Glendon Street should be for short-term stuff. I'm putting the boat in the water and taking the kids out and I'm done for the day, or maybe staying someplace overnight. But if you think about a longer-term episode, someone's coming here Thursday night, putting the boat in the water, they may be putting it someplace, and they're going to pick it up and take it out Sunday or Monday. So Glendon Street, shorter term.
Do you want to do Glendon Street just?
Filter bed 5, so Glendon Street 3, filter bed 5, that's
Or
my
do we
motion.
want to say, from what you're saying, do we want to say Glendon Street parking, you can leave it 1 day?
No, 3.
Okay, all right, that's what
I'm gonna move
I was just trying.
on Item 4, boat trailer parking and Glendon Street parking shall not exceed 3 days, 3 consecutive days. And Filter Bed Road parking area shall not exceed 5 consecutive days.
Isn't filter bed listed as long-term right now?
No, I think filter bed is, you can get a, come down, and if you're an island person, get a plaque and put your trailer out there. You've got to get a pass. This is, I'm going to dump my boat in, I'm going to be around, I'll leave my trailer there, I'll go out and use my boat, and 5 days from now, I will pick it up and out you
So
go.
Dave, what happens to someone who goes and rents someplace in town, like the Pickering House, and they bring a boat and there's no trailer parking there? Does that fall on the Pickering House and that's it? Or do we have somebody who comes up for a week vacation and they need to park their boat trailer somewhere for a week? There's no place in town to do that?
I would say 7 days. That's why I kind of went 7. I wouldn't want to go 7 because the filter bed road.
I'll amend my motion to 7.
Thank you.
I think that's what Jim was possibly trying to accomplish here when you made this change, because our extended parking for Island, for example, for Crescent Lake, off Mass Landing, they can get permits and they could go to Pop Whalen, but now we want Pop Whalen to be year-round, so we need the parking spaces that we had there. So now we're trying to do some overflow on Filter Bed Road, and then you'll remember we had some issues with some fishing tournaments.
Correct.
And having the boat and trailers in our lots all day long for a fishing tournament, so we were trying to encourage a place for overflow
Linda, are you
parking.
cool with 3 and 7?
There's 3, based on what you think. I think 3 and 7 makes sense.
2? 2 and 7?
3 and 7.
I mean, you can go with whatever you want, but I do think 1 day and 7 days is a good place to start with this idea.
So what we're saying is the Glendon Street
I'm
parking
withdrawing my
lot
motion.
only can be there, you can do it for your day of a fishing tournament.
Right.
All right, so we're going to go Glendon Street for 1, which is what I kind of was doing then afterwards, and then we're going to say Filter Bed Road 7. Does that make sense?
1 and 7?
1 and 7.
Now, I have just one other thing to mention. There is signs that quote our ordinance at the Libby Museum that say that it's overnight trailer parking.
I think when we do that, I think we have a whole thing that yes, this has to do here.
So we either have to write that in the ordinance, or we got to get those signs taken down.
Brian, we need to take the signs down because it doesn't match this ordinance.
Thank you.
We'll give Brian a can of
I'll
spray.
have the signs looked at.
All right, thank you.
All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
How did you vote, Dave?
Favor?
How'd you vote, John?
I voted in favor. I raised my hand.
So I think we're all set, right? I think we did a
Okay.
5 on that one.
Yep, we did.
Going to move along here.
What else we got?
We got public input again.
Well, I think, are we done with the ordinances?
I
obviously missed the question.
I thought that was the ones I saw, and, we didn't decide on my, I was wanting to make a motion to not put the revenues in a separate fund, but to leave them to go to the general fund. So I would like to eliminate 361010. Well, is that right? Yes, yep, 10.
Hold on.
Allocation of commercial vessel landing revenue shall be set aside in a manner to be determined by the select board. They will be set aside exclusively for the maintenance and improvement of the town docks and the dockside and Cape Park access. You want to do what with that?
I want to get rid of it. I want any of the revenue that we get to go into the general fund to offset the payment on the bond.
So your motion is
To
to
eliminate it, just get rid of it.
eliminate 361010?
Yep, that's what I said, yep.
I guess, Dave, is there a second there?
And seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
No.
No.
okay.
Passes.
3-2, pass.
It passes.
Yep, it does.
All right.
Okay, that was the only other one I had, yep.
You're on.
I'm Kathy Dragonfly. I'm running for Board of Selectmen, so I've come for this lovely afternoon meeting, which I actually like because everybody gets tired later. I have a list of questions. What?
I don't think your speaker's on.
Hear you that well.
Oh,
You
it's
can't
on.
hear me? That's the first time I've ever heard that.
No.
You want me to step closer?
No,
Can
just
you
shout.
hear me?
Just a little louder. Just turn it up a little bit.
All right, I'm running
you
for
go.
Board of Selectmen, and I am here for this wonderful afternoon meeting. I questioned it at first, but I think it's really good because we're not falling asleep. I took my notes as you guys were all talking, so please forgive me if these are not in the order for your consideration. I just got to get these things out here. One thing, we keep talking about nonprofit versus charitable, and all nonprofits are not charitable. And therefore, when Mrs. Dole gets $3 million for running the Red Cross, she shouldn't be the same category as a local nonprofit. And when you consider waste management versus Wakefield Bob, there's a whole lot of difference. So how can we charge the Mount Washington the same thing we're going to charge Clearwater Lodges? That is like all over the place. We're talking a 20-year life on docks. Somebody said 10-year life. One thing while you guys were all talking about the barges, maybe we could get some of those guys to do some in-kind repairs. Maybe it doesn't have to be a cash business. People need to maintain their houses. That doesn't mean that the taxpayers need to help you do that. And Brian, you brought that up a couple of times. I think people pay taxes, so we should allow them to do something. And I don't think that's necessarily fair. You knew, not you, maybe Janie, but you knew you were going to have to maintain your house, and it may require a barge to come to your house. Okay, that's great. But and the same with the island people that come to dock. They need a special place. Well, they knew that when they bought their island. It shouldn't be subsidized by the taxpayers. You knew it was coming. You get less expensive houses because they're out on the island, so you're not paying the same thing for an island house as you're paying for North Main. One of the things you were talking about, the surveillance thing at the Libby, and I'm wondering if there is some sort of an app, like a parking meter, where somebody could come in, hit the app, say, I'm here, I'm going to be here for half an hour, and then I'm going to split. And then that way, you'd have people signing in when they got to the dock and when they're signing out. If you're going to go to all the problem of setting up a surveillance camera and an app and all that, we might as well get it to work for us. Some of these are just like, what's going on? One thing, you started talking about a bond again, and it is my opinion and my goal and my promise that there will be no more bonds, no new bonds, until we get our budget and our costs under control. I can't, as a person, keep going out and borrowing forever, thinking I'm going to pay. You're dragging down future generations when you do that. You're making them pay. You make that decision for them. The agenda didn't include specifically the words Libby, and I think you might have had more people here if you specifically used those words. I also think during the agenda it wasn't brought up that we were talking the Libby versus all docking fees because of what was on the Board of Selectmen. It was a little bit screwy. I think a lot of these fees that we're hoping to implement, they need to have a whole year lead time, because I'm not planning my budget for that far out. I'm planning my budget for 2 months out. So I need to know what my fees are going to be today, not 12 or 14 months from now. The upkeep of the docks, I feel, same as the Libby Museum. It is our obligation to keep these up. This isn't optional. If we take away those town docks and refuse to pay, there's going to be serious problems there. So it's an obligation that the Board of Selectmen has to the taxpayers. We should all be treated the same. And one of the things we were talking about was a schedule, and that's kind of a strange word. Are we talking could we charge by the hour versus a day? I mean, what are all those different time things? How would that change the outcome? You just all changed it so that it was per vessel. One thing I want to let taxpayers know is that we charge per dog. Okay? We should charge per vessel. Just because I am a veterinarian that has 50 dogs at any one time, I shouldn't be paying the same thing as the little old lady that's got one little pup. There are a lot of situations in this town where the Chamber of Commerce and other groups like them, which are considered nonprofit, but they're using our town property, like the Chamber building the train station. They pay $300 a month, or $350 a month, basically. All the business owners in town, that's all they could come up with, was $350 a month for one of our most prominent, desirable locations. They then get to go sub-rent to two of their chosen. So we're giving them, plus we're subsidizing them by allowing them to sub-rent, plus they ask for money to keep a calendar. Now, I know a lot of those things are changing, but why it seems like we're constantly nickel and diming our locals. And they can't. We need special programs for our locals. If you have the Mount Washington shouldn't be paying the same thing as a true charitable organization here in this town. The Boat Museum is no longer a big thing in this town. They've moved. They've taken lots of money and moved out of town. Was it because of us? Could have been. But another thing, like with taxes, you can be, with commercial properties, you are taxed based on your revenue. That's one of the things. Just like a nice lake house is taxed on a pretty view. Maybe we could do something like that.
Quickly.
I sat here for 3 hours waiting for quick.
Well,
I have a 5 o'clock appointment. I'm not going to be much longer, but if you all let me read my notes. Paul, you suggested we back off some of this ultra micro managing, and I agree with you, especially with the boats. Parking meters, could we get boat parking meters? Would that be a way that we could somehow surveil what's truly happening, or give a ticket? As I'm listening, the one word that drove me right out of my seat was in perpetuity. Nothing that you guys can grant should be granted in perpetuity. Grandfathered is a nice word. In perpetuity means that that $3,000 dock is going to be $3,000 in 50 years from now. Nothing we should do should be in perpetuity. I can't believe you guys were using that word. And the amount that the Mount Washington pays, and the Millie B, and the boat, the mail boat, and I've been on all of them. I love all of them. I recommend all of them to tourists. But it's just not the same. They shouldn't all be paying the same. There's got to be something where we support our locals, support our businesses, but we don't give the same, like, are the island people then going to want a guaranteed parking spot? We got to treat everybody the same somehow, or at least get the basis the same. Then we can start making changes. But all the different fees, all the different, I'm going to charge this and that, and you make more, I make more, you know, 60,000. Our kindergarten numbers are dropping, so maybe the Mount Washington numbers are dropping also. As things go up, prices go up, less people can afford these things. So we do need, I think the point you made was very valid, but we need hard and fast numbers. I think there's a thing between past, somebody complains to the town, we get it on the town thing, the town agendas, we discuss the hell out of it, and then there's no action. We don't give tickets, we don't make things happen, it just keeps getting talked about like the Libby, year after year after year. And if somebody has one boat versus 5 boats, Linda's son has 5, you all heard me say 3 apparently. Is that boat taken off of the water? It's still making the same damage to our lake. Where is it parked when it's not at the town docks? The Blue Ghost, or whatever it is, the mailboat, they're getting overnight parking from us. I love Isaac. I've known him since he's been 1. Friend of my kids, great thing that he's doing, but he's getting a fee paid to him by the Postal Service. And he's paying the town, it's not coming back out the other way, I'll say that much. It just seems very uneven. And even the communication between yourself, this is much better than I have seen, but you gotta let us talk too. Not just at the beginning, not just at the end, maybe in the middle. Maybe we could all get up and take a bathroom break. Something has got to change. It's always the same thing. We did it that way. Well, we're going to change, or it's just going to keep being that way. So, with this, I'm going to the Heritage Commission meeting, where I'm sure we'll be talking about the Libby. Thank you.
Good evening. Sebastian Tordonato. Just going to say, wow. I mean, I came in an hour late. Thank God I did. You guys got to do a little bit more compromise. Let me remind you what the meaning of compromise is. Compromise is when all of you are unhappy with the result. Okay? If any of you is happy with the result, you didn't compromise. So when all of you are unhappy with the results, that's a compromise. I don't see that happening, but that's amongst you. What I would say is that I have some comments about sort of the discussion I heard, is that it was my impression that the Board of Selectmen, the town government, really should be representing the citizens of the town, the community. They're the taxpayers. They're the ones who fund everything that goes on, and you should be representing them. I agree that you should support the businesses, but not to the point of you're supporting the business at the expense of the taxpayer. The taxpayer should come first, the businesses should come second. Second point I'd like to make is that I agree with John in that I believe the rates need to go up. What I didn't hear from anyone is that they had done a comparison about what is the going rate in other towns around the lake. I mean, there was some talk about the Mount. I'll agree to that. But there wasn't any, and Paul, you talked about the cost of getting a slip at Goodhue Hawkins. That's what you need to compare with. You need to compare with what is the going rate? What will the traffic bear? Not with, well, gee, he's a nice guy, we should just, give him $200 or whatever. The way you price this stuff doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Third item I'd like to talk about is where you put the money that you get for these fees. Linda wants to put them in the general fund. Somebody else wanted to keep it for the docks. I would tell you that if you're running a business, and obviously you guys probably don't pay taxes because of your municipality, so maybe you don't get the depreciation deduction. But when you're running a business and you depreciate an asset, you pay for the asset, you depreciate the asset, that amount of money, that depreciation is supposed to be saved to replace the asset when it wears out. So what I see happening is that the town continues to spend the money to renew the asset, the town docks, and they get used up, okay? And when they have to be replaced, it's a big nut to pay. And what do you end up doing? You end up either floating a bond or you end up raising dramatically taxes, a warrant article. So what happens is a citizen ends up getting paid for subsidizing the businesses that use it. I'm not sure that's fair unless we're getting compensated, unless the citizens are getting some return on that investment, which should be put forward to replacing that asset. That's the way it should work. I understand you want to pay down the debt and put it toward the general fund. It's understandable. But you should be saving that to replace the asset. About the parking at the town docks and having boats come in and out, having a commercial dock. I understand Brian's point about you can't cut these people off at the knees. Once they've made an investment to have a business, you can't cut them off. I would say the mistake was that you ever let it happen in the first place, okay? I have been coming here for 50 years. In my younger days, we used to hop in a boat on Sunday morning, go downtown, park at the docks, go get coffee, get the paper, go to Black's, do whatever you got to do, get back in the boat, and go. We thought nothing of getting in the boat, going down and getting ice cream, getting back in the boat, going back home. I won't even go downtown anymore. I will not go downtown by boat. I have sat in Wolfeboro Bay literally for half an hour trying to get a docking spot, a parking spot. What I end up doing is, hey guys, I'm going to pull up to the end of that dock, get on the bow of the boat. When I get close, jump off. Do what you got to do. I'll sit out here and wait for you. When you come out, come to the same dock. I'll pick you up. Okay, I don't even get to dock the boat. I basically go in head first. You better not miss or you're getting wet. So that's my comment on that. What can you do about it now? What I would say is you don't expand it. You're stuck with what you got, and it's true. You can't cut the people off at the knees, but you can charge them the going rate. I wouldn't expand it. I wouldn't expand it at all. In fact, I would like to see it shrink. Last item on the mount. I agree that the price should go up. $25,000, and usually I agree with you, John, on most things, is too high. I agree a little bit with Paul that it's iconic. You know, everybody sees the mount. That's emblematic of Lake Winnipesaukee. We don't want the mount to bypass Wolfeboro. The price has to go up, but again, I admonish you to compromise. Get to a number which is reasonable for the mount, get to a number that is reasonable for us, the citizens, and that's what you should do. That's my comments. And I'll end it there, because I do have a dinner appointment. So.
Well, we have another meeting, so. All right, it's now 5 o'clock. I have a motion to go into non-public.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we got this intent to cut.
Brian doesn't think I have any common sense. I wish he'd say that in public.
What's that?